This tactic here at Preston is scaring the opposition teams to death, and it's becoming almost unplayable now. But the game is fighting back in a way that I have never come across in all my years of playing FM. And I'm absolutely at the point of paranoia because I do not know what it's going to do next. But despite all that, I still have a plan for today. Let's go and kick some balls. Hello and welcome back to The Road to Glory, Part 70, Season 8, here at Preston. And I am in my second season at Preston, and the first month of the second season has been full of madness and mayhem in a way that I have never encountered in all my years playing this game. And it does seem to me the game is fighting back. And today we have two very difficult fixtures. We are going to be away at Bournemouth in the first and away at Burnley in the second. And it doesn't come any more difficult than that at a time when crisis has hit us. But before we get into what has been happening, if you are new to the channel and you like FM content and you love to see someone suffering playing this game, then why not? Subscribe, like, watch and comment. Help the channel to grow and help us to support the very, very good stuff that you can see scrolling above. And while we are on that subject, I will leave a link to the recently opened Just Giving page, and we have already raised over £250 for that cause. And if you have a mind to donate something small, it could be even just £1 or £2, then please feel free to do so. Every little helps. It doesn't matter how small, it will all mount up, and together we can make a difference. And I really don't know where to begin when it comes to all the madness and mayhem. But I think it all began about a week before the transfer deadline shut. I wasn't planning to sell anyone, and as you know from the last episode, I was planning to hopefully bring in a centre mid, and I was hoping to find a midfield right. But unfortunately, the scouts were having a great deal of difficulty finding players who actually fit what I needed. Right wingers seem to have disappeared off the face of the earth. I had found a centre mid, but unfortunately he was a 30-year-old, and so I'd added him to my shortlists, my default shortlist initially, and then to my midfield shortlist, and finally, a couple of weeks prior to the window shutting, I added him to the targets shortlist because I was getting worried we were not going to find anyone younger. And about a week before the transfer deadline day, I decided we're not going to find a younger player who is as good as him. I will go and sign him. But unfortunately, he had disappeared from all of my shortlists. He had disappeared from the scouting lists, a list of players who'd been scouted. He had vanished from the surface of the planet. So I set my scouts out to go and have a look for him and typed in his name, as you do, and we managed to find him in the end. We located him. I think my scouts found him with his agent in a bar just south of the Namburubuju crater. We managed to fly him home, then we did a deal, and so he has arrived. It has upset the board because he is 30 years old, and that's not what I agreed with them. And so whatever way I approached this, I was going to be in trouble. But we have got a centre mid in, and we'll look at what happened in the transfer window a little bit later on, once I've tried to get this sorted out in my mind. But we still couldn't find a right winger, and we have not been able to bring in a right winger. They seem to have completely disappeared from the planet. There are no right wingers left anymore. So it is what it is, and I do have adequate cover, I would say, on that side, as Norton Cuffy can play as a right winger. But it's disappointing, shall we say, that the scouts couldn't find a right winger. It's left us a player or two short in the squad, but we'll manage. And the second thing then that happened was about a week before, and as I said, I wasn't planning to sell anybody, but a week before the transfer deadline day, offers started coming in for all my key players. Norton Cuffy, Jean-Jules, Surridge, McCann, so many players, and it was basically, Brody Hughes was another one. It was basically becoming a nightmare because I was just rejecting offers after offers. And although I was able to appease most of them, when an offer came in from my backup goalkeeper, and I only have 2 goalkeepers, then he got very, very upset when I rejected that one, to the point where the team leaders got involved and told me that I was treating him unfairly. And so 2 days before the deadline day, I had to sell my backup goalkeeper because I didn't want to upset the team leaders anymore, and so I was left without a goalkeeper as backup. I was therefore forced to put in a 16-year-old youth player into the first team, and I knew if I did that, then I would be in serious trouble, and you know what would have happened if I'd had a 16-year-old sitting on the bench as backup. But I didn't panic, because I knew on deadline day that surely there would be a goalkeeper, a backup goalkeeper looking for a club, and lo and behold, we were able to sign a backup goalkeeper on deadline day. And so squad dynamics is pretty good at the moment, and we had found a backup goalkeeper. And so that was pretty bad, but it was not the worst of it, because I have never seen an injury list like this in a month ever in my entire time playing the game. I've seen bad injury lists, but not as bad as this. And we have had 14 players injured in a month, and it's just one after another. And it got so bad that in the Carabao Cup first round, I had to play players totally out of position all over the pitch, including playing an attacking midfield at left back and then finally at right back. We still managed to win the game on penalties, despite the fact that we didn't have any penalties who could take penalties. We just managed to scrape the victory. We still have current injuries. We have 4 out. We've just had 2 go out again during the international break. We have Liam Lindsay out, Musa Mohammed. He hasn't played a game yet. He's been injured twice. Ewan Simpson, who we've brought in as the DLP, he is out. And Jordan Keogh, who we've brought in for on the left wing, he is out as well, can also play as a shadow striker. We are being decimated, absolutely torn apart by injuries, and this is causing me all sorts of problems. And the team that I'm going to have to play against, Bournemouth, is a team that is playing out of position of their regular positions, and we have a game 2 days later against Burnley, who are going to be even tougher opposition, and so I am at the point of tearing my hair out. But despite everything that has been going on, we are currently top of the league, and we have a 100% record at present. But given what has been going on, I don't know if we can sustain this very much longer. But let's have a look at what's happened on the pitch since you were last here. When you were last here, you saw us beating Derby very comfortably by 4-0, and then we followed that with a really nice win against Stoke before everything started to go wrong. We beat Blackpool comfortably by 3-1, despite having a lot of injuries at this time. And then the game against Crewe ended at 0-0, but we managed to pick up a victory on penalties. And then against Cardiff, we got out of the blocks very, very quickly, and we were 3-0 up by half-time. But in the second half, we tired and we looked like a really poor team. And on a different day, looking at the game, I think Cardiff might have won that game. Unfortunately, Cardiff's finishing was not up to scratch, and we did manage to come out and win that by 3-1. And so we have to play Bournemouth away, followed very quickly in 2 days' time by Burnley away, and I have got real squad problems, and it is going to be a couple of days of sheer nightmare, I think. But I do have a plan, and my plan is to confuse the AI, and we'll have a look at that a little bit later on. But let's go and have a quick look at what has been going on in the transfer window. And as I said, we didn't have any plans to sell anybody, but we did let go a number of young players. We actually let go Craig Jones on loan, centre-back. He went out on loan to Ross County. And then we had to sell our backup goalkeeper. He went to Leicester. I don't think he's going to get much more playing time than he had here, but he went out for £58,000. In terms of players who have come in, there have been 2 signings. We have signed a backup goalkeeper. He is called Aksoy. He's come in for £27,500 from Bayer Leverkusen. He's a decent backup goalkeeper. In fact, I think he is, as a 22-year-old, he might develop and become a first-team goalkeeper one day. He's a pretty good replacement for our reserve team goalkeeper. And the centre midfield that I managed to bring in, he's cost us £4.5 million, and that really has upset the board. Paulo Estrella was brought in for that money from Tenerife. I think he's a very, very good player, and he will be playing as the centre mid, and I think he's got everything I want from a centre mid. He is 30 years old, that's fair enough. He still has a value of up to 8 million, and I don't think this is such a bad deal as the board are making out to be. I think he's a very, very good player who I needed in the centre of midfield, and I think we'll get 3 good years out of him as we progress this team. So the board might be upset. I'm not too upset. I think he's a great player, and I'm very happy to have him here, even if the fans and the board hate me at the moment. The squad dynamics are fine now, and we have no unhappy players. We have managed to survive that problem that we had. So I think we should just concentrate on what we're going to do to try and beat Bournemouth. Let's go and kick some balls. And so here we are at the game, and we have a number of players who are playing out of position. Originally I had Jean-Jules here, but I have switched it over because of the game plan. Norton Cuffy will be playing on the wing. Estrella will be playing as the DLP and not as the centre mid, which I had originally planned. And there are reasons for all these changes that I've come up with. And so what I'm basically going to do is, because of what I know about Bournemouth, is that they will play a very direct, quick tempo game. So out of possession, I'm coming off the trigger press. We're going to drop off more to help keep our shape, and we're going to try and maintain possession. And so we've got them playing with a little bit of a lower tempo to help us hold on to possession. But the real secret to what I'm going to be doing is that the team I have selected is selected deliberately, because if I switch things over, I still have a team who can play in that shape with minimal adjustment in terms of their position on the pitch. So I'm free to switch this team over, and the idea that I have is that I am going to try and confuse the AI, and every 15 minutes I'm going to switch the shape of the team and try to confuse the AI into making mistakes and not knowing how we are going to be actually playing. So I hope that that will work. It's the only thing I can actually think of. Otherwise, I think if I just play as normal, I'm going to get hammered here today. Also, I do know that they score a lot of goals just before half-time, so at about 30 minutes I will drop it down to a standard, and I will then put the DLP on a defend duty and the fullback on a support duty in order to help us to contain them just before halftime. There's really nothing else I can think of to do. I think now it's time to go and play some football. And so I hope that I've done the right thing. I just feel that things are falling apart enough that if I don't actually do anything, then we probably will lose. We have real injury crisis going on. We've just got 2 players come back injured from their international duty. And I think I'm going to say the pressure is all on them. I'm going to take the pressure off our boys and just tell them, go out there, make a difference. I know that we have problems, and I hope that by following what I want to do, that we will come out with at least a draw from this game. I can only but remain optimistic. Norton Cutty looking for Jean-Jules. Can Jean-Jules find support? He's looking inside. That's a lovely crossfield ball. He's looking for Azevedo. And here is a chance. And has that gone in? I think it went in. Did it? No, it's not been given as a goal. And that was so unfortunate. I thought we had taken the lead. But here is McCann. McCann, he's looking for Estrella. Estrella spraying the ball around beautifully. And here's Niandulu. Niandulu looking for McCann. McCann to Azevedo. Estrella. He finds Hughes. Hughes to Cuffy. We deserve a goal from this. We are playing the ball around beautifully. The ball is deflected up. Hughes with a chance and he heads it over the crossbar. That deserved a goal. That was beautiful football. And Bournemouth were really struggling to get to grips with that. And we are in charge of the game and looking very, very good at the moment. And here is Jean-Jules. Jean-Jules, he's looking back for support. Finds Norton Cuffy, who's playing on the right wing today. Norton Cuffy all the way over to Azevedo. Azevedo, he has a shooting chance. He goes for goal. We've hit the woodwork again. And it remains 0-0. We have been desperately unlucky so far. It's Bournemouth 0, Preston 0. I need to just remember to flick this over after 15 minutes. And I think we're getting to that time where we should flick this over. And we'll go to part 2. We'll flick them over into the different shape and see if we can't confuse Bournemouth a little bit. It is still Bournemouth 0, Preston 0. We are absolutely dominating the match, and this is a good sign. Now it's time to actually flick them back again, and let's hope it does confuse them. And it is coming up towards half-time, and I think maybe we will do plan B just before half-time. And so I am sticking to what I wanted to do. As you can see, Bournemouth look like they're coming into the game a little bit more. But I've put my DLP on defend, put the fullback on support, so to try and stop them coming back into the game. And we are still having all the highlights. And here's Niandulu, McCann, Surridge looking for Jean-Jules over the top, but it doesn't manage to get to him. And the ball is going to be with Bournemouth. And there's a long kick upfield. We want them to play it long. I don't want them passing it around. And that's why I wanted to try and maintain as much possession as we could. We have had 60% of the possession, and that's what I wanted to do. Here's Dangana. He looks for McCann. McCann to Estrella. Estrella, although he's 30 years old, he was an absolutely essential signing. But that's not good from Norton Cuffy, who's given the ball away. And here come Bournemouth. And this is just as predicted. They will come strong in the just before half-time, and we have been robbed, and they probably are going to score here. They have scored. I don't believe this game sometimes, and we have just dominated the match, and this is, I don't know. I did everything I could to try and stop that happening, and Dangana, he has made a complete fool of himself and left us totally isolated at the back. It's 1-0 to Bournemouth, and I just feel like this was bound to happen. I think the game has been setting this up to happen with all the injuries, with all the nonsense that's been going on. I'm not at all surprised, and so we'll just keep doing what we're doing, and hopefully we can get back into the game. Here is Estrella and Norton Cuffy looking to get the ball into the box. We do have a chance, but it's been saved. We are the better team, clearly the better team. The tactic that I've set up for them to do has worked perfectly. They've scored from a freak mistake at the back. And why did I know this was going to happen? Sometimes the game is a little bit too predictable, but we still need to try and get back into this game as Norton Cuffy, who's not having the greatest of games on the right wing, he finds Hughes. Hughes, can he get the ball out. He leaves it to Estrella. There's a ball into the box. We do have a chance, and once again, we fired it over the crossbar. It's not going to be our day. Look at the stats. We are murdering them, and the game is just not going to allow me to win this. The stats say everything. And that is just unfortunate. And I am going to say I think we've been unlucky. You've done nothing wrong. There's nothing more we can do, and we'll go back to the positive because half-time has now passed. I will put this DLP back on a support duty. We'll put our fullback back on an attack duty, and we'll try and get after them. I can't ask the team to do any more than what they've been doing. We'll switch it up for the start of the second half, and let's see what happens. I knew this is going to happen. I'm not going to sit here and be disappointed. Sometimes the game is that predictable, and it's probably going to be a Bournemouth victory, but we'll do what we can. I'll try and identify Surridge as having an absolute stinker, so he has to come off. And so we have made a few changes. Surridge was on a 6.2. He's having an absolute stinker. And we have picked up another injury. Norton Cuffy is injured now. Hopefully just a short-term injury, because another long-term injury is not going to be very helpful. But at the moment, I think we'll go attacking. I've got nothing to lose now. Niandulu is now very tired. I'm going to not do anything. We have to try and score a goal. I can't bring somebody on. Maybe I should bring Savu on, but he's not. In fact, I think he's injured, so I can't bring him on. We are in a mess, and the game is drifting away from us. It's Bournemouth 1, Preston 0. I'm not surprised. This was going to happen. If you can't beat someone, then you will do something about it that they can't control. This is absolutely shocking. And here we do have a chance. Are we going to get something at the end? We're not going to get something at the end. And it comes out to Estrella. Estrella, it's ball into the box. We do have a chance. We've hit the crossbar again. This is just appalling. Can we get the ball into the box? No, we can't. We've hit the woodwork so many times. It's just you've just got to put this down to, it's one of those things that the game will do. And here is Savu and looking for Hughes. And that is a bad tackle. We do have another free kick. Is the game going to give us one last chance? I don't for a minute believe that we're going to score from it. And Estrella is over the ball. And we do need to get a move on. And he fires the ball into the box. Header on goal. It goes over the bar. That's it. Game over. And I'm not very, very happy, as you can tell. And we did everything right. Absolutely everything right. We were the better team. And we should have won that game. And I don't know what else I can do. Given what has been happening, this was inevitable. And I'm not very happy with the game at the moment. And I have accused the game of cheating at times. And this is a perfect example. And we have another injury. So Brooks Norton-Cuffy will not be available or fit for the Burnley game. And this is just not acceptable. But we have to get on with it. It is what it is. And we will now go to the next game. And we will have to play Burnley. And hopefully we will bounce back. And so 2 days later, the team for today is a very rotated team. We have had 1 or 2 players coming back from injury who can play for a little while. So we have Cox in goal with Bernard, Digbareku, Dangana and Nizet at the back. Matate, Estrella, Corbanu in midfield with Jean-Jules, Doherty and Surridge up front. We have to hope that Burnley are a little less fit than we are. But what is really interesting is that I have just had 3 updates from my scouts and their recommendations are full of right wingers. Now, isn't that odd? When it's too late, they have found a load of right wingers for me to sign. I am not very, very happy, as you can tell, with this game at the moment. And it almost feels like if you can't win, then cheat. And so we'll go into the game with Burnley and see what happens. And I can see Burnley are very fit. They're about as fit as we are. So that hasn't actually worked. I have to keep an eye on Ryan Gould. We do have to watch this tactically, even though we are a bit upset with things at the moment. Burnley do have a free kick. And I knew this was coming. What has been happening in the last few weeks was indicating to me this is coming. If I can't beat you fair and square, I'm going to beat you anyway. And having to leave Norton Cuffy out of the team today, as again, it's upsetting and it's hard to put a team together. And let's switch over. Things are not working out. Let's switch over and see if that helps. Switching the tactic over may confuse the AI. Burnley have not had a very good start to the season, but maybe that's not going to matter because Burnley will be up at the top at some point. And being out in front like this, possibly things are being evened up here, and it is all Burnley, but we have managed to intercept the ball. Doherty is back in the team after his injury, but I don't know how long he can last. Here is Nizet on the right. Nizet looking for Dagoni, and here is Estrella. Estrella finds Matate. Matate to Estrella. Need a big game from Estrella today. Doherty looking to get a shot off. That was totally ill-disciplined. We are supposed to be working the ball into the box. I need to do something about Ryan Gould. I think it's really important that we close Ryan Gould down. He has had a lot of the ball. And Gabriel Silva is also a bit of a nuisance. Might have to do something about him at half-time. So I do need to take those two out, and we'll look at that at half-time. And I don't know, what shall we say to them? I think we need to show everyone that the current praise is justified. And so let's go out and see what happens in the second half. I remain not optimistic. If we come out of this with 1 point, I'll be happy because the way things are going at the moment, it's not going my way. There is a ball into the box. Surridge, who's really out of form at the moment. And it could be that he was unsettled during the transfer window with all these offers that were coming in from him. He hasn't recovered. Here's Bernard to Corbeanu. Corbeanu to John Jules, and John Jules has scored. It's Burnley 1. Burnley 0, Preston 1. I gave the goal to Burnley there because I thought that's how it was going to go. Jean Jules is on the scoreboard. It's Burnley 0, Preston 1. I don't think I want to come off positive mentality at the moment. It's a very even game, both in terms of possession and in terms of shots and shots on target. And at the moment, I don't think I want to be giving away the momentum. We've got the momentum, and so if I go to a standard style of play, we might give that momentum away. I think I do need to make some changes, though, before people get too tired. But we'll do it after this highlight, as Cox looks for Dengana. Dengana, who's a lovely centre-back, is just he made an absolutely stupid error against Bournemouth, which cost us the game in the end, or did it? Here is Matate. Matate finds Jean Jules. Jean Jules to Surridge. I need Surridge to do something. He's depressing me at the moment. Here is Corbeanu. Corbeanu finds Bernard. Bernard was having a nice game at right back there. Gets the ball into the box, and we've made it 2-0. Alfie Doherty, back in the team, has made it Burnley 0, Preston 2. That has restored my faith in FM somewhat, but it's a game that we haven't actually dominated, and yet we are slightly better than Burnley, but it seems to me that Burnley have very little to offer. One of Burnley's problems, as we know, is that they can't finish, and let's hope that continues. Burnley are looking very tired as well. And so we have brought some fresh legs onto the pitch. We do need to, I think they are getting very, very tired at the back, more tired than we are doing. But we do need to keep an eye on some of our players who are tiring fast. We do have 2 more substitutes we can use. Hughes has come on for Bernard at right back. He fires a throw into the box. It's not a very good one. Azevedo can pick up the loose ball. He finds Matate. Matate to Dangana. Dangana to Digbareku. Here's Hughes. Hughes is looking for Jean-Jules. Jean-Jules in space. Can he get it into the box? He can't at the moment. Fires in across. McCann has made it 3-0. And we are back. And we are back with a vengeance. And I think that has restored my faith a little bit in the game. I did feel like I got dreadfully FM'd in the last game, and I still stand by that. But in this game, we're back to this tactic is unbelievable. McCann does what McCann does, and finding space on the edge of the box. We've seen a lot of that from him last season. I'm going to make a couple more changes. And so we have brought on Dan Keogh, who can restore possibly his place in the side after injury, and Savu will get a run out on the right wing. But Burnley do have a corner, and that is hit the crossbar, and it's nice to see the opposition hitting the crossbar for a change. It remains Burnley 0, Preston 3. We have extended our lead to 3 points over Leeds, and I'll be perfectly happy with that. Just looking, Bournemouth are drawing with Charlton, and I'll be happy to be 3 points clear at this stage, given the magnitude of what has happened to us. I'm going to say nice work, everybody. That was really good. We do have a run of fixtures coming up that might be a little bit easier than what we've just been through. If we do see, we've been through Cardiff, Bournemouth and Burnley. We've come away with 6 points from 9. That's really good. We now have to play Oxford, Peterborough in the EFL Cup, Sunderland, Bristol City. So we have 3 games which we could say are easier, but also potential banana skins. And so we keep going. We unfortunately lost against Bournemouth, but we've made it up with a 3-0 away victory at Burnley. And that's it for this episode. And a very, very frustrating month that has been. I have never seen anything like it, but we have come through it despite all the odds. And this tactic keeps this team going and going. If you are new to the channel and you do like to see people suffer playing this game, well, you're in the right place. So why not subscribe, like, watch and comment. Help the channel to grow and help us to support all that good stuff that you can see scrolling above. And so, a contented, if a little bit suspicious manager here at Preston, I will bid you all farewell. Stay safe. We'll see you in the next episode.